Well, okay. Family there and everything.
What's that?
Still have family there and everything.
Yeah.
Cool.
How you doing?
I'm doing swell. I'm envious of your hair. I just cut my hair recently.
Yeah.
Um, that too being part of the middle age thing. My experience of my own hair.
Wow, really?
Yeah. I had become kind of attached to it like a stage prop, kind of.
Your
Like,
hair.
yeah, like more than that though. It's like at some point, like I started growing my hair right after my son was born, which would have been that was during COVID, like 2020 or so.
Uh-huh.
And I had this feeling like I'd never grown my hair that long before. I wanted to really, I don't know, something about it felt like I'm gonna see new things are still possible for this old dog. This old dog can still do kind of tricks, you know?
Yeah.
So I grew my hair out long, and then the band started, became kind of a fun stage prop to whip it around. And um, really it was more of an internal thing, though. Made me feel like I could still be a rock star, you know? Like I could still, despite my middle-agedness and being a family man and all this other shit. Um, like this old guy still got it. But then eventually it's like, this is a pain to maintain. And then I also had this thought, I only cut my hair like last week. I had a thought that I'd like to be able to prove to myself that whatever I'm doing in my musical life is something that's based on internal strength, not some external prop that kind of props me up emotionally. Somehow, as if my hair proved to myself that I could be a musician, which was a crazy idea. Um, so I went to Rudy's, I had it cut, and I remember feeling just initially like a real feeling of lightness. Like, see, I really have internalized some sense of I can be a musician, I can do all these other things. I don't need this stage prop anymore, glued to my head. And then like a week later, I've been getting more depressed about it. Now I look at your hair, I'm like, oh man, it looks nice. I'm envious. So I don't know. We'll see what happens. But
Wow. You're very reflective, very self-aware.
I I do try to be. I've spent a hell of a lot of time doing that. I mean, I've got so many blind spots too. That's kind of part of being reflective. Maybe is the more I do it, the more I realize there are things that I don't want to know about myself. There are things that I'm struggling with. There are things that I'm trying to avoid by being a musician and by writing songs. I know some people talk about creating music as being a way of kind of opening oneself up more, getting more into your own experience. I think that can also be true. I know for me sometimes it's like this is a way for me to get away from myself. This is a way for me to avoid who I am. It can be both. I mean, it's complicated. So I appreciate you saying that. But I'm some areas I'm still very much struggling to be reflective about who I am because some ways I don't want to know myself. Um, so, but twice a week in therapy with my therapist Barb, we're trying to work it out.
Twice a week, huh? Wow.
Yeah. Twice a week. I mean, being a therapist, part of that's like sort of professional development. It's like good for me to have the practice of being on the other side of the room. You know? But it's really more because I need it. You know, I just need the help. So.
You have this calming yet conflicted energy about you.
You feel that with me, the conflicted?
Not, it's so funny. You're like, I was trying to find the right word to use, but yeah, I think there is a little bit of like, you are a very calm energy, but as I have gotten to know you more, because this is the longest we've ever actually chatted.
Sure.
Over the past like 20 minutes as I was setting up, there is like a lot of conflict that isn't necessarily like negative or violent or malicious or whatever. It's just like, oh, there's a lot of like internal conflict that you tend to reflect on. And so
it's true.
It just seems like, yeah, you're constantly almost like trying to understand all facets of the prism that is yourself.
It feels to me, no, you're perceptive. I think that's true. I mean, the conflict part, it feels very generative. It was a big reason I started this band, for sure. I felt like the conflict that I had about my life, which I mean, I tell people about this, and I think there's a lot of people, certainly a lot of like middle-aged dudes I know who are kind of, they seem to resonate with this, kind of having built a life for themselves, and then in a very predictable way, maybe arriving in your early 40s, late 30s, being like, wait, what? How did I get here? This is a lot of good stuff, and I do love the things in my life now. Um, but a feeling like a lot got left out along the way or set aside, like that type of
Mm,
that becomes a very generative place for me because then it becomes incredibly propulsive. I have to write music. I have to start a band. I have to do all these things related to it. I have to be here with you, talking with you now because of a feeling like this is how I'm going to prove to myself that parts of myself that I have let go can be reclaimed. That whole
mm.
thing. Um, the conflict there is like, and the part that I wish I was more at peace with is I'm never going to be in my early 20s with no family and no children and no obligations again, right? That the fantasy of what that could have been, who I could have been, it's so easy to have a fantasy like that. It becomes very grandiose. We
Mm,
I could have been in the next great rock band 20 years ago. It's like shit, I tried. We did some cool things, but it didn't become I lived that life once. But anyway, I can be very possessed of the fantasy now that me at this age, I can still do something. That
mm,
also can be very generative and very propulsive, but also it's it's staving off grief. Not just grief about what's possible for me as some sort of popular artist, but also grief about like I only get to live one life when I've had tremendous feeling for as long as I've been alive, feeling like I wish I could live a different life. You
mm.
know, um, that's part of my that's just a part of my who I am.
Yeah.
So I've tried to be more Buddhist about it these days and think, well, I just am a very conflictual person, and I think I'm always going to be. It feels kind of grim saying that, but I also hope that it can bring about some sort of peace to be okay being in conflict with myself.
Mm,
It's
mhm.
not easy. Even as I'm talking to you, I'm like, I can start crying about this. That's okay. Has someone cried with you before?
No, it would be the
It'd
first.
be the first.
Has anyone cried? I don't think so.
Not GZ or anything.
No, not on camera.
Not on.
I'm just kidding. Wow. So you seem to be a very deep empath.
What does that? What does it mean?
Um, I love how we just dove into this. We didn't even go with my usual first question. Um,
It's probably a good question, but
yeah,
whatever. We don't. This is a cool conversation as it is.
yeah, yeah. Well, let's just skip ahead. So everyone,
Sure. Yeah.
all the five people that will be paying attention, including the two people in this room right now. Um, Sharkeologist Jeff, um, the lead, the originator,
I'm the OG
the
Sharkeologist.
OG Sharkeologist,
Hmm.
alt rock band.
I'd say so.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like
Okay.
alt rock, some some heavy guitar, some synth. Always trying to write melodies that I'm hoping are sing
Oh, yeah,
alongable.
yeah,
It's like
for
always
sure.
the kind of.
It reminds me a lot of like late 90s, early 2000s alt rock, which
I
is,
can't escape that being my roots.
yeah.
At least like a time in which I was probably starting to write songs would have been right around that time.
Are
People,
there, I'm gonna come back to your question, but
that's okay.
just to go through this, who are your artistic ancestors?
Ancestors. Um, when I was growing up in LA, very young, I remember driving in this front seat of my dad's car. Uh, before you needed car seats, so you could be a little kid sitting in the front bench
Yeah,
seat
of
with your
course.
dad driving
Yeah.
around. He had Little Richard tapes,
Mm,
Fats Domino,
mm-hmm,
Elvis too, big Elvis guy, Buddy Holly. So those feel like ancestors to me, at least when it comes to like my sense of what I'm doing when I'm performing. That part of me very
mm-hmm.
much has if nothing else, I know I bring a lot of energy, a lot of mania, and a lot of
Yeah.
I don't know what I think of as a sometimes a Little Richard type of flair, just a
Mm,
bigness on stage.
yeah, yeah.
So that's part of it. I mean, so my dad died 1991,
Mm,
and we moved to Seattle shortly thereafter from LA, my family. And then, about the first thing I discovered when I was here was Kurt Cobain, who became, looking back now, like a person I attached to as a surrogate father figure. Like I was
Mm.
so deeply infatuated with Nirvana. And then he also died,
Mhm.
obviously,
Mhm.
which was, I think, strengthened that bond in my mind because it allowed me to deal with feelings that I was having about my dad's death that at being 8 or 9 years old, I just wasn't equipped to deal with. But I
Yeah.
could feel them about Kurt, kind of
Yeah. Yeah.
indirectly.
Yeah.
Um, so I so Nirvana became all Nirvana all the time. The only thing I ever wanted my first guitar teacher to teach me was Nirvana songs, even though I
Mhm.
could teach them to myself at a certain point because they're not that difficult,
Yeah.
but I
Yeah.
didn't care.
Yeah.
That wasn't the point.
Yeah.
Got older, got dumped by my first girlfriend at Bumbershoot in early, like, the Bumbershoot 2000 or what it was.
Do you know which band it was during?
She dumped me, and then we bought 4-day passes back when you could buy a 4-day pass
Okay.
for like $40 to Bumbershoot.
Oh
It's
my
pretty awesome.
gosh.
She dumped me though. We still went together because when you're in high school, you don't really know how to break up with somebody.
Yeah.
It's like I
Yeah.
guess we're
Yeah.
still gonna kind of go together,
Yeah.
but it's gonna be awkward because you'll be flirting with all these other guys, and I'm
Yeah.
gonna be heartbroken, right?
Yeah.
Um, we at some point we went together, but then she quickly peeled off to go do something else, and I saw that Elliott Smith was performing at
Mm.
Key Arena.
Mm.
So I went and sat in the way nosebleeds by myself, listening to Elliott Smith play songs from his album at the time, Figure Eight. It was like the perfect heartbroken
Yeah.
sad boy music for me. So I remember the minute that was done, I took money from my first job, which would have been I worked at like a athletic supply kind of store. Took that money, went to the EMP back when it was the EMP, and I had a CD shop there, and I bought that Elliott Smith album and the one before that, Waltz, or the one with Waltz number two.
Mm.
XO was the name of that album.
Mm.
So yeah, Elliott Smith, Kurt, and Little Richard feel like
Mm.
weird combo, but those feel like my ancestors to me.
Nice. That makes a lot of sense. Seeing you perform a couple times, again, the music. I'm not as familiar with Elliott Smith, but
Mm.
I'll take your word for it
Oh,
on that one.
beautiful stuff. Did you ever see Good Will Hunting?
Hmm.
His music is all over that movie, like all the tender love scenes between
Okay.
Matt Damon and Minnie Driver. His
Mm.
soft acoustic playing in the background, but
Gotcha.
like kind of
Gotcha.
heartbroken and tender,
Yeah.
but tormented too. Conflict, a lot of conflict in
Mm.
that guy.
Yeah.
So
Um, what does empath mean? I feel like, I mean, artists are stereotypically defined as empaths, right? Because I think people just assume like you have to be able to like strongly feel something to write about something to a certain degree, right? That would then make somebody else feel something.
sure.
Um,
Mm,
but I don't find that to be true. I mean, I think you don't have to. I mean, I guess. I mean, I feel like everyone's an empath unless you're a sociopath, right? Because everyone feels something even if they don't have the language to describe what they're feeling.
sure,
That's my opinion.
but they can feel.
They
Yeah.
can feel,
Hmm.
yeah. It's just like the the system from sensation perception to feeling and then articulation or the manifestation of that feeling through body language or like or verbal language
Sure.
is different or broken or like clogged or
Hmm.
whatever.
Totally. A lot of interfering stuff that
Yeah,
would make it harder for a person to express themselves. I
yeah,
totally get that.
yeah. Which is why I think you can have a Kurt Cobain write about love,
Sure.
and it sounds different than Alicia Keys writing about love
Yeah.
because the mechanisms by which they feel and then explain that same feeling are different because of experiences and maybe even music or whatever. Um,
Life, trauma,
yeah,
other things.
all those things.
Yeah. Hmm.
Um, so I guess when I say you're a deep empath, I think there are certain people that like strongly feel things and for a variety of reasons. Like I would say I would self-proclaim myself as a deep empath, but a lot of that is because of the trauma I went through as a child where I didn't like allow myself to feel those things. So now as I
Mm.
feel them, they're just so overwhelming sometimes
Mm.
that it like it's like a surge of life within
Hmm.
me.
But the overwhelming quality, my guess, maybe this is me projecting, but I would imagine the overwhelming quality can also just be overwhelming. Like this is too
That too,
much.
yeah.
Like this is huge, right?
Hmm.
Yeah. the kind of thing that can make a person feel like that child self again, who's like
Mhm.
totally overwhelmed. I mean,
Mhm.
I definitely know that feeling. My experience of like, for me, it's funny. I was just telling my wife this last week. Like, I think I was really well trained growing up. I had two therapist parents, by the way,
Oh, wow. Okay.
um, which is just as complicated as you might imagine it being.
Yeah.
Um, but I was telling her this week that I feel like I got a really good training in being very deeply in touch with certain feelings from my world, my parents, my mom principally.
Mhm.
And then I got an excellent subtle training in certain feelings that it was absolutely not okay to feel,
Mm.
you know. And it's and such now, even like at this point in my life, I'll notice like it's only become recently that I can even really notice, oh, I'm feeling overwhelmed. I'm feeling really stressed out. I'm feeling X. Other things come much more naturally to me, but it just occurred to me that talk about blind spots despite all this therapy I've been in. Um, Very strange to me to think that there are ways in which I was trained to not feel.
Mhm.
And anyway, with respect to the music, like one thing I talk about with my therapist these days a lot is that um, one thing that drew me to Kurt's music and Nirvana's music a lot was that clearly extremely emotional, but also
Mhm.
really inscrutable. Like there's
Mm.
not a lot of Nirvana lyrics that people point to as being, you know, I don't know, the kind of thing a person might get tattooed on their arm because it
Mm.
speaks to them so personally. Kind of, at least is my feeling. That band was so powerfully connecting because of just an energy and an emotional expressiveness that wasn't verbal, really.
Mhm.
It was
Mhm.
Kurt's
Mhm.
voice and it was the
Mhm.
sound of the music and it was Dave Grohl's drums or whatever. Um, for me, I was drawn to that type of lyric writing especially, and to that energy because it felt like a way that I could hide in plain sight.
Mm.
I could be very emotional and in that way very communicative and expressive to people at a show listening, but also could tell myself nobody gets to know me,
Mhm.
I'm totally private, as if it were. I mean, this is a fantasy. I don't know if this is actually true, and I think I'm much. I mean, you've already picked up on things to me that I wasn't aware that I was communicating to you,
Mhm.
my conflict and stuff like that. So I'm more of an open book that I probably want to be sometimes.
Most of us are.
Most
Most
of
of
us.
us are.
Yeah, we like to think perhaps we're a bit more protective or sort of more smoothly packaged, but we're giving off our tells all the time. My patients too are like that.
I would also say that depends on who you're, or people would have to pay attention to pick that up, though,
Sure.
right? Because I think a lot of us hide in plain sight simply because people don't pay attention,
Yeah, that's true. Hmm.
right?
People, well, I mean, again, maybe revealing of me. I think a lot of people though are, we're so focused on ourselves.
Yeah.
We're concerned about, how we're coming across, not wanting to be vulnerable, not wanting to be hurt. So it sounds kind of like a basic narcissism that we all possess, but I also think that's kind of true on some level. To
Oh,
really
for sure.
be dispossessed of that and just show up for another person, it's hard to do.
Hmm.
Um, Hard to set those things aside. At least it's been hard for me to set those things aside.
Yeah.
Um,
Going back to your point about the music, your music, but through learning from Nirvana and some of these other bands, um, if you take away the instrumentation,
sure.
um, are you still in the shot?
I'm right in the middle of it, baby.
Are you?
I think so.
Oh, nice. Okay. It's the only thing about not having help is like midway through, I'm like, he adjusted.
I've been
Damn.
shifting around a lot. It's true.
Don't move.
Probably.
The one thing I notice about your music is that if you take away the instrumentation, the lyrics are actually very vulnerable.
Hmm.
But when you add the instrumentation, there's this playfulness about it that, to your point, and maybe this is intentional or not, that masks what you're actually talking about. So is that intentional?
Hmm. I'm very tempted to say, for sure, of course, but no, I don't. I mean, it's tough. Like this might be in keeping with like the part of me that wants to, like is in conflict. Again, that seems to be the theme for today. Like
That's what I'm going to call this conflicted
uh, the
Sharkeologist.
conflicted Sharkeologist. Um, there's a song I wrote called "Forget About It," which is on
Hmm.
the most recent album. Which is like a. It sounds to me like a. I don't know. It's like Kinks or XTC or that kind of upbeat, kind of jangly pop almost. But I mean, I'm singing in that song about the memory of hopping on my dad's the gravestones next to my dad's grave after he was
Mhm,
buried, kind of
mhm,
island
mhm,
hopping from gravestone to gravestone with my brother. I'm writing about my wounds, but it's in this kind of weird packaging. It's funny because as I think about that song, I feel very proud of it. I really enjoy that song, both lyrically and melodically. I know for sure people don't get it. The people who are
mm,
like, I love that tune. You should play that one live. That one kicks ass. Like, part of me says thanks for listening. Another part's like, oh shit, they really didn't get it. But to your point, I didn't really help anybody get it, right? Because of the way that I presented it.
yeah,
Like, why would you sort of,
mm,
I'm not drawing them in the way like a Bon Iver type of person or
mhm,
Elliott Smith. The packaging itself being part of the message, like I'm working at cross purposes with myself, which is, I mean, maybe that's part of what I'm discovering and talking to you about it now. Just thinking about this really deliberately is my conflicts are so deeply woven into the art and the message. The message itself being so conflicted and so tangled, and maybe that gets in the way of people appreciating it for what I think that it is, but I don't know. Like I said before, like I don't know. There's something kind of wonderful about hiding in plain sight and having a really sweet song, playful song that's also that I know, and maybe a sensitive listener knows is like about something else entirely.
mhm.
Um,
So, do
it's
you
very weird. It's very weird.
so when you say like, let me say this a different way. Well, oh, okay, hold on. Let me pin that question and ask this first, the second one first.
Yeah,
When you say people didn't get it, what what aren't they getting? I mean, I heard you say like the song is about potentially like this really poignant, emotional, traumatic experience that you had with your father passing.
for sure.
And so is that it, or is there something else around it that people aren't getting because it is packaged in this way?
Well, as I think about it, like I can only really say what I find meaningful about this particular song, um, which is I like that it's so conflicted too.
Mm-hmm.
It makes me feel very contradictory to say that now, but it's true. I kind of like the fact that a very um, pleasantly playful song has a very dark, painful undertone to it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I think my ideal listener maybe would pick up on the way in which the song is, in that particular case, the song about denying one's trauma and trying to run away from it, which is not really possible, but that's what the song is about. I Perhaps I have some sort of fantasy that someone could get both levels of that. Like, oh, he's talking very directly about
Mm-hmm.
his suffering, about
Mm-hmm.
suffering in general, and he's showing us what it's like to manically deny that, to
Mm-hmm.
run away from it via playful, bubbly, bipolar energy.
Mm-hmm.
Which I have a lot of that in me too.
Mm-hmm.
So that's like a very thick message. It's like a lot being communicated there.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't. I'm not sitting here feeling like I'm begrudging the people in my life who really pay attention and try to get a sense of my music. If they don't get that, it's also it's okay. It contributes to a very lonely feeling, though, I will say, and that's like
Mm-hmm.
an inherently. You're catching me at such an interesting moment with this interview. I don't know that I would have said any of this like 6 months ago, but
You know
I've
what's
been
funny? I get that a lot.
really.
Mm-hmm.
But you're a really good listener, clearly, and you're an empath too. So I imagine you sense things that I'm saying, and there being kind of an emotional significance to them, and you make eye contact and you listen, you give me space. So I feel safe in that way, which is nice. I feel safe to be kind of a mess, which
Mm.
I can feel like sometimes. Um, I've been so concerned for a long time with the fantasy of my music being deeply beloved by everybody, like a very
Mm-hmm.
grandiose fantasy, right? But I think one that probably a lot of people can resonate with. Recently, I've felt more constrained and constricted and kind of punished by that because
Mm.
I mean, shit, not even Bad Bunny is that universally loved, right? There's a whole nation of people who don't like that guy right now. Um,
Well, a whole nation?
I mean, a part of this nation,
Part of the nation.
a
Yeah,
whole
yeah.
sub
A
nation, maybe.
percentage of
Yeah,
the, yeah,
percent.
okay.
Um, my point though is like there's a grandioseness that's really, I think, for me, meant to try to fill holes in myself. If I could be
Mm,
that widely loved, then something in me is going to be filled up,
yeah.
which is never, it's just not true.
Mhm,
And I
mhm,
feel like I've been going through a kind of grieving process, letting that go, which has this other function of me being much more excited about just creating music again. Not creating music to be loved or to be distributed or to be, I don't know, attended to by people, but just music that I feel like I want to make. It's been
mhm.
wonderful, actually, um, when I can feel that way. Because, of course, then I collapse and I think, well, the song I just wrote, this song's fucking great. I really want to. Oh, everybody's going to love this song. Oh, shit, I got to record it. What's the video going to be? How am I going to promote this on Instagram? Like, oh, fuck, man. It drives me crazy and it feels so. And then I don't want to record at all. I don't want to write anymore when I feel that way.
Mm.
Um, but anyway, that's all been a little easier to set aside because I have felt less grandiose, and then I can just be a person here who's having a conversation with you, and I don't know, I don't feel as much the need to entertain,
Hmm.
to fill a hole in myself. Even you. I did have. It's funny. I was having some thoughts like, what could I do to really be outrageous here with
Really?
JH? Like, some way that I could show up and turn this into kind of like a performance piece. Some ridiculous. I could come paint.
Like a Tom Green.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah. Or
okay.
like times I've seen one of my favorite comedians, Tim Heidecker from the Tim and Eric Show, if you know that one.
Mm-mm.
He showed up on Stephen Colbert with his creative partner Eric, both dressed as clowns, like
Okay.
like face paint and all that kind of shit, but like 100% serious. Like we're gonna have a serious talk
Yeah.
like this, but I'll be painted head to toe, big old rubber feet and like a red nose and
Mhm,
shit like that.
mhm.
So I didn't. Ultimately, I was like, man, I don't. Yeah, that would maybe that's gonna get more clicks if you have some outrageous experience with me, but it's like I don't. I just can't bear. I just can't bear to think that way right
I feel like, um, yeah, maybe,
now. Maybe right. Could have been.
but, but, um, yeah, I don't know. Is that authentically you?
It would have been to the extent that it would have been me showing you very honestly, and whoever's watching, like just how grandiose and intolerant of myself I could be.
Mm,
As if it wouldn't be okay just to show up here as myself. You know what I mean?
mm,
That type
mm,
of thing.
mm, mhm.
Um,
And yet you wore a cardigan.
it's a cool outfit actually.
Yeah, I like it.
It's got an emotional significance. My mommy bought me this cardigan. She called it Kurt Cobain cardigan because it's like sort of like what Kurt wore during the Unplugged performance, which
Yeah.
is her favorite Nirvana. She
Mhm,
tried to
mhm.
understand my connection to Kurt, and she got into Unplugged, that performance.
I
But
mean, it was legendary, you
legendary.
know?
I mean, it's a great entry point for a lot of people who might otherwise be turned off by the
Yeah.
grunginess. Like,
Man Who Saved the World cover.
oh,
I mean, come
beautiful,
on.
man. I mean, it's funny. A lot of those songs, well, again, like I was saying before, those are the tunes I taught myself, but I wanted my guitar teacher to teach them to me anyway, just because I wanted to be immersed in them
Yeah.
all the time.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, but it's also a nice therapist sweater, you know.
Oh, for sure,
You know that
yeah.
that therapist vibe.
Yeah.
The band's name comes from a pet name that I gave my first therapist. Um, we
Mm,
talked about sharks a lot. Sharks is like on a very short list of things that I was totally obsessed with as a kid.
yeah.
Sharks, dinosaurs. I got a little older. It was like sharks, dinosaurs, infectious diseases, the Holocaust, just dark stuff,
Yeah.
serial killers.
Mm,
Um, and but sharks, we talked about sharks a lot, how beautiful I thought they were.
mm,
And it was one place where I don't know that his empathy broke down because he was very empathetic in so many ways, but he's also like, I really don't get it. Like they're very savage creatures, they're dangerous, and I could only really tell him like I guess he must have felt like I was describing them like they were, I don't know, animals you'd pet at the zoo or something. I love them, bring me to tears talking about them.
mm,
And he had this thought that ultimately my love of sharks and even my love of their savagery was me trying to deal with what it was like to be a little kid who could get very angry but lived in an emotional environment where it was not okay ever to be angry.
mm.
So feelings have to be displaced and put somewhere else. I could sort of be fascinated by Jaws. Look at all that blood in the water. Anyway, we talked about sharks enough with he and I that I referenced him as my sharkeologist.
Mm.
You know, he was the one who was trying to, in a therapeutic way, be an archaeologist and help me understand my deeper roots, the deeper layers of me, um, and also my savage, angry side, which is very real, and I'm better at handling now than I used to be. That's true. But
Was your music when you were younger more mm, energetic, angry, aggressive? Because Sharkeologist music isn't that intense
Mhm.
compared to like,
No,
you know, a Nirvana or
I would say it's
Slipknot.
I would oh yeah. I would say that it's more intense than my music was. So it's sort of like
Mm.
it's kind of I thought about this actually. It's like a middle groundish that allows me to be somewhat angry and aggressive, but also kind of softer, I suppose. Um, no, earlier on it was more like kind of acoustic John Mayer kind of stuff. I,
Okay,
you know,
I was listening to your album, and John Mayer was one artist I pulled out. I was like, okay, I could see a little John Mayer. Harry Styles once. There's one song
ooh,
I'm like,
cool. Well, I'll
there's a
take
little
that.
Harry Styles there.
Hell yeah. I mean, I've got, I had a buddy of mine who's his name, I'll give him a shout out because he's hugely important to me, one of my best friends. My best friend growing up for sure. His name's Johnny Butler. He's a sax player, lives in New York. He won a Grammy for playing on Beyonce's album with Love on Top, whatever album that
Mm-hmm.
was. He played on that song.
I'm
Anyway,
not going to say anything. I want to say it's like four, or it's the one before Beyonce.
but I think it's the one that also was like the album of the year, I want to say. So he won a
Oh,
Grammy, but he actually,
no.
sidebar, he didn't actually get a gramophone. He got like a paper certificate because I don't
Oh.
think they gave everybody the gramophone, or maybe you can pay
There's a
extra for it.
certain like percentage I think you need to have before you get the award. My stepson has won a couple times. He's an engineer
Awesome. Oh, cool.
and mixer. He mixes songs sometimes for Afrobeat artists.
Oh, cool,
And
man.
so he's won a couple. But yeah, he complained this year because he was in a category and like he didn't have enough percentage of a song or something where it's like, I didn't even get a Grammy, I just got a paper. It's like, okay, well, I mean, you still got a
That's
Grammy.
cool, man. But that's a man. What a I'm sitting here having this reaction like, wow, that would be so cool to win a Grammy. It's so cool to get even the certificate. Though I'm sure if I did, the goalpost moves so damn easily. I'm sure I'd
Oh
feel
yeah,
that way
for
too.
sure.
It's
Yeah.
like,
It's like, why didn't I get album
oh,
of the year?
I didn't
I
get
just
album of
got
the year,
song of
man.
the year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, you know, my what's that? My steak too juicy, my lobster too buttery or something like that.
yeah.
Yeah. I butchered that. But yeah, I mean, as an artist, I feel like, yeah,
Mm,
you're constantly chasing the next goal and you're not just really enjoying where you're at, right? Um, and I mean, I think
yeah.
about that a lot working on this new album.
Mm.
And yeah, I actually have a question about that. But you were talking about your friend, Johnny Butler.
Oh, Johnny Butler. Yeah. Well, now I'm curious about this album you're making, but
Finish your
what
anecdote
that,
first.
I was telling him once, oh, this is in reference to John Mayer, who I'm kind of, some part of me is like, am I really going to be open about the fact that John Mayer's, like, I've liked a lot of his music and felt influenced by
Continuum.
it.
I mean,
Gr-
classic album.
Great album, man.
Yeah.
Even some of the later, like the more recent stuff I've enjoyed. But I was telling him similarly, kind of embarrassed about my my enjoyment of John Mayer, and he was just like, man, his phrase for it was, "Mother music doesn't care." That's become kind of a
Mm,
shorthand for the idea that, man, if you like it, and that's really good enough. Which I don't know that
yeah,
everybody would agree for that, but I would.
I agree.
I needed to hear that because it counteracted some part of me that would just talk shit mostly out of envy of someone like John Mayer. Probably
Mm,
what it is more than anything.
mm.
Um, envy is a huge part of who I am, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
Now I'm envying your stepson, envying John Mayer, and envying Johnny for being in the studio with Beyonce that day.
I
Um,
know. Well, I mean, was he in the studio with her?
yeah, she was there.
Oh, okay.
He said that she was like very integral to writing the horn parts for Love on Top. Like she working with the horn section. She apparently brought. He said like it was her and her handlers, and she brought with herself this huge bag of avocados, and she was just pounding avocados the whole time. Just scoop. No, I don't know.
I mean, that is like a snack amongst some cultures for sure. I mean, a fresh avocado
The
is
bomb.
delicious, dude.
Maybe a little salt or like a
Yeah,
little balsamic if you're
yeah,
kind of feeling
yeah,
that.
yeah.
But
Um, I mean, it goes back to your point about Bad Bunny. Like the Beyonce is so massive, but she's also hated on by a lot of people. Um, I think unfairly because she is an incredible artist and like knows music
oh
and
my god,
knows like all the and I think like the fact that she has a bunch of writers listed on songs, people use that against her, not knowing the intricacy of what copyright and songwriting is today versus back in the 70s or 60s,
100%
right?
right. Yeah.
It's just different, especially at that caliber,
Oh
you
my
know.
gosh.
And within that genre, like it's common to interpolate ideas,
Hmm.
right? And at that caliber, to interpolate an idea means you better like give some publishing or percentage to this person because you just want to. It's minimizing risk. That's what it's
Totally.
all about,
Yeah.
right?
Hmm.
Versus me, like nobody knows who I am, so it's like I don't. It's not as risky for me to interpolate something and not credit that
And
writer.
not credit somebody,
You
right?
know?
Exactly. Yeah. Well, same with my band and my music too.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. I mean, you copied an entire song. No, I'm just kidding.
what- did I? Let me think about
I'm
this.
just kidding. I'm just
I'm
kidding.
sure I mean, definitely stolen ideas. That's for sure.
Um, I'm gonna pull out my phone because I had other questions I wanted to get to. We're already like 30 minutes into this, dude. Look at that.
Hell yeah.
We just dove into that. Um, oh, I'm curious. It's very small, but where did the label 20-minute records come from?
I another part of the therapist life of mine melding with my musical life. Um, I was listening to this famous psychoanalyst. Well, there's no such thing as a famous psychoanalyst other than Sigmund Freud, but in the therapy world, he was famous, right? Talking about his process of writing books. He'd written a number, and he said it was basically way too much pressure to say to himself, "I'm going to sit down on my computer and write my next thing right now. I'm going to spend all day and write." He would get distracted. He would get pulled away by other things. So he set himself a goal of, I know for sure the minimum amount I can do every day and still feel like I'm being productive is 20 minutes.
Yeah.
So I can do 20 minutes. And if I do more than that because the spirit moves me, great, but every day I'm gonna do 20 minutes.
Mm.
That idea spoke to me at a time when I just needed to feel like I was starting this again, to the point of my midlife crisis,
Yeah.
feeling like I've got to do music again because I have to feel alive. I'm terrified of dying. I don't want to I don't want to lose something on my slow march to death that means so much to me. So I can devote in my mind small bits of me every day to nurture this again. That's my
You think that was empty?
you did that's fine. It's a granite floor anyway, whatever,
I know.
concrete. Um,
Here
so
at the label, I did this last time. Every time I try to say labor temple, I say label temple.
the label temple, I think a Freudian slip.
Oh my God. The labor temple. Anyway, how old was your dad when he passed?
45.
Mm.
He it's kind of a strange story that I didn't know until much later, but my family in California had like a steel manufacturing business, and part of the work, I mean, not that I understand this part, but part of the work of manufacturing steel, at least at that time, had to do with like massive vats that you would have to clean with these particular industrial chemicals that only much later were discovered to be carcinogenic.
Yeah.
So his job was to go into these vats and clean them and whatever, use the substance that has been shown sort of reliably to be correlated with kidney cancer later in life, which is what he died of.
Gotcha.
So it was super aggressive. He didn't catch or he didn't know that he had cancer until it had already metastasized to his lungs.
Damn.
So it started in his kidney. It was already like ravaging his body. So he found out October, November of 1990, and he was dead by March of 1991. So it was very fast.
What day?
March 18th, 1991. Same day I kissed my girlfriend, now wife, for the first time. 13 or 14 years later.
That's cool.
Yeah. So March 18th is again, more conflict and interlacing of things. March 18th is a day for me that way. So a day of celebration, a day of grief. Conflict, like I was telling my therapist this yesterday. I feel like there's always a kind of background static in my mind. Even if I'm at sort of having a nice time or feeling more or less calm, there's always conflict in me,
Mhm.
always a bit of a sense of dis-ease and a lack of peace, which I
Mm.
think comes across in the music too sometimes. I will say one of the only times I don't feel that way is when I'm at my dad's grave and when I'm with my children at my dad's grave.
Mm.
We went there a couple summers ago. They hadn't been before. And it felt so nice to like, I remember hugging the shit out of my daughter, being there at Grandpa Tom's grave. It's, you know, I've seen this gravestone all my life. Um, but to bring my own kids there, to kind of imagine how much he would have loved being their granddad, you know,
Mhm.
it was really like, and that for some reason, the feeling is like, if this makes sense, sitting on the bottom of the ocean
Mm.
and feeling so deeply grounded. I can't think of a way to be more grounded than to be at the bottom of the ocean somehow,
Mhm.
with the sharks maybe.
Mhm.
Um, and I just feel so at peace when I'm at his grave.
Mm.
It's very strange. I mean, it may sound strange, but that's
No?
like this random ass Catholic cemetery in the middle of Orange County, California. It's like the one place I feel most deeply grounded. And then I leave and the static returns and I'm back to my normal life.
Mm.
I appreciate you letting me
Of course.
cry and feel. This is this is just who I am.
Yeah.
I also feel like so much pride for being able to be this in touch with my feelings, you know, to the empath point. You know.
Mm.
I don't feel afraid of people saying this or
Yeah. I mean, no one will probably watch this, so except on Instagram.
that's great.
I'm just
That's the way we
I'm
watch
just
anything.
gonna snip and then zoom in on your face as you're crying.
Please, please
That'll
come.
get the views.
Yeah,
We'll
sure.
both blow up.
Yeah, great, cool. The crying rock musician from Seattle.
Yeah. Um, no, thanks for sharing that.
Yeah. No, thanks for that. I wish I could go back.
I feel the same way. My dad really loved Elton John,
Mm.
and therefore I really love Elton John.
Hell yeah.
And I'm like inching my way towards meeting him. All of this is really just to meet Elton John, let's be honest. So if anyone knows him and can like connect me, I just need
I
like
have a
5 minutes.
connection with Elton John.
Somebody just told me, I'll have to remember. Somebody just told me that there's an engineer or someone that lives like on Vashon that like worked very closely with Elton
Really?
on one of the albums. I think
On
like an
Brunch?
80s album. Yeah.
Huh.
Anyway,
That's random. That's crazy.
super
There are a few
random.
of those people like in the Northwest who are very.
I mean, Brandy Carlisle, right? She just made
Oh
an
yeah, that
entire
would be a
album
great.
with them.
Yeah, that's a great call.
Um,
That would be like go talk to Matt Vaughn at Easy Street Records because Brandy's played recently in
yeah,
store there. Maybe that'd be the way.
yeah. Okay, I
Um,
need to meet Brandy first,
Brandy's your
and
way.
then I can.
Totally.
Um, yeah. I mean, yeah. I do like get sad about. I was gonna talk about something else, but I do get sad about the fact that I mean he's getting very old, and part of me feels this pressure of like I have to like blow up like faster because I know if I blow up
Mm.
as a gay artist,
Yeah.
we'll become connected at some point.
Mm-hmm.
Like I saw that with Chapel Roan, right? I
Sure.
was like, okay, I just need to like, have
Mm-hmm.
a song like really do well, which is like so not gonna happen. I mean, anything can happen. I'm a man of probability, but the probability is very slim. Going back to like potentially why neither one of us chose to pursue music at a very young age to the degree that maybe we are now.
Yeah. Yeah, I
Um,
think that's right.
um, but anyway, uh, Elton John has a song called "Leave On."
Leave on.
Hmm.
Like leave on or the name leave on.
Leave On, yeah, the name "Leave On." Have you ever heard it?
I don't think so. No.
So good, so good, and I feel like the most alive
Mm.
and joyously overwhelmed with emotion when I'm driving, listening to that at full blast and
Mm.
just screaming, like singing my head off. Because the song is about like this person who like lived this life that was like somewhat rough, and like they're finding joy in like this simple sort of way of living, but then they have this son that like has this grandiose dream about what he wants to do in the world and who he wants to become. And he leaves the dad to like go
Mm.
chase his
To
dream,
go
right?
chase it.
And I feel that so strongly because like not the exact same, but very similarly, like I parted ways a lot with my family and my uh dad because it was like I want to go dream and like do this bigger thing and like, become something.
Yeah, right.
Um
Mm.
but now I see the like complexity of that and like what I missed out on
Mm.
potentially. Um
So you live kind of both sides of the Levon story a little
for
bit.
sure.
Mm. I mean, why couldn't you just shoot your shot and make an appeal on social media to Elton John himself? Like that would be another way to go, right? I'm
Yeah,
thinking very
yeah.
concretely, like
Uh do like a day 100 of trying to get Elton John to see this video so that I
sure,
can just say how much he meant to my father and I.
totally. And you tell the story, and you tell the story of Levon, and like
Yeah.
I mean, I could. That would be the kind of thing that feels like it would be the most direct path
Should
to
I?
me. Why not?
Today? Should I start today?
Yeah, today. That yeah. Would you catalog it like today is day one of me trying to connect with Elton John, and then if it doesn't happen today, do another video day two. Like these are like just kind of make it a story people could get involved with. Like oh,
Mm.
this guy's like really trying to get in touch with Elton John. Like that seems like it could work.
What if it happens on day one? Like it's that easy.
Well, Mazel tov, I guess that'd be
You're
great.
like, oh damn, I had like 100 more of these
I had
videos.
way more planned, but now it's kind of forestalled.
What do I do now? Yeah.
I mean, you could do like the meet and greet thing. Does he do that ever? Like he's doing a book signing? I remember hearing a
Um,
podcast of someone who really wanted to meet Britney Spears, and that was the way they met her, was by going to a book signing.
so here's the thing. I don't want it to be in that scenario. It's not a thing where it's like, oh, I just need to shake his hand. It's like, no, I want to have like, even if it's 5 minutes, like I want to have like a connection.
Something
You
like
know what I'm
this, like
saying?
a
Yeah.
conversation. Yeah.
Yeah. You had to leave in 10 minutes,
What time is it?
11:20.
Damn, we filled up a lot of
Yeah.
time very quickly.
We didn't even really get to your music.
Yeah.
Lightning round.
Okay.
In 60 seconds or less, tell me about the song. Tell me this isn't happening.
Um, that is a song. The name is "You Got to Be Kidding Me." That was just the refrain at the end of the song, but that's the build up.
Oh,
Tell
sorry.
me
Yeah.
this is.
I wrote this note at that point. Yeah.
That's
Sorry.
okay.
My bad.
Um, that song is about me being deeply pessimistic about the world, feeling like there's no point in hoping for a better world because look at the horrible world around us, and being very angry about that. And then kind of turning during the course is turning my reflection inward, being like, wait a minute, this isn't just about the world being lost. I feel very lost.
Mm,
So the chorus is, um, who am I to talk? I'm so tired and so lost. So it's me, I guess, dealing with what feels like a miserable world inside and outside of me. Tell me this isn't happening was what I said when my mom and dad sat my brother and me down to tell me my dad was going to die
mm,
of cancer. We were sitting there playing cards in the living room, and they told us, and my memory of that was that I immediately was like, "This isn't happening. This isn't happening."
mhm.
Um,
So, if I remember correctly in this song, you repeat that phrase a couple times.
Tell me this isn't happening. Tell me this is. It's got a pulsing feel, and then by the end, it's kind of ecstatic screaming, more
Yeah.
or less.
So, was that screaming a matter of the of where that came from?
100%.
Yeah.
I didn't really realize it now. I mean, it felt like exactly what I had to sing, but maybe also like maybe a lot of roads can be traced back to that to me losing him because I didn't really think of the song as being about that. But when you're a kid and your dad dies, your, a parent dies, the whole world feels like it's crumbling
Yeah, for
around
sure.
you. You know, I remember thinking that very much too after he had passed, and my mom was so incredibly fragile. I remember very clearly having the thought like, I cannot be a bad kid
Mm,
because she's fragile enough to begin with, so I got to be a good kid, a bon garçon, to
mhm,
reference our friend Gonzovi. Um, anyway, that
mm.
was my that was where that song comes from.
'Kay,
That was way more than 60 seconds. I'm sorry,
I
bud.
like it more, even more now. Um, this seems to be a very contentious topic, but I'd love to get your quick take on it.
Hmm.
Do you think Seattle has a sound?
Did it one time. I I mean, no, I don't think. I mean, a particular sound that would be extremely myopic to say that. Oh yeah, sure, we had a sound. Nirvana, Alice in Chains, whatever. No, I mean, the scene is so broad. There's so many bands, at least that I feel like I've got a personal connection with that are doing kind of alt rock, alt country, amazing hip hop. I mean, that's part of our city's history now too, I suppose. Um, it's diverse. It's kind of wild. I'd like to think maybe that we're a bit more emotional up here.
Mm,
You know, we have a history of more emotional music, um, from Macklemore to Kurt Cobain to whomever else. Um, but maybe I'm just projecting, and I want that to be true.
yeah.
Um, so no, I don't think there's a sound necessarily. A lot of different sounds though.
Hmm. Um,
I think you
mm,
can tell a person's closed-mindedness if they give you a definite answer to that question.
mm,
You know, like the Seattle Sound ended when Kurt Cobain died, or
yeah,
when Soundgarden broke up, or whatever. It's like, come on, man.
yeah.
It's been like 30 years of things that have
Right.
happened
Yeah,
here
yeah.
since then. You know.
Um, I've also had this conversation a lot. People, there's kind of either side if people feel like the Seattle music scene is welcoming and collaborative or
Ooh.
very closed off and cliquey. What has been your experience?
It feels like. I mean, I think I've had experiences of both, to be honest with you, where it feels like the only bands that seem to get the really coolest opportunities. This is when I get my very envious kind of
Yeah, yeah.
closed-minded place. Only the people who are on the inside who like know a couple of KEXP DJs or somebody at Sub Pop. They're the ones who get all the cool bookings or whatever. I mean, maybe there's some truth to that, but I don't think that's totally true. And I think on the level of artist to artist, musician to musician, tremendous openness. You're embodying that right now by being with me.
Mm,
You know, someone that you're open to platforming in this way. So really, person to person, I've only felt openness. I haven't felt. I can't think of many situations where I felt someone deliberately competitive. Maybe a few. Um, maybe I'm the most competitive person I know in music or something. I doubt that's true, but I know I certainly bring my competitiveness, my envy, my sibling rivalry to all the musical things I do.
mm,
Deeply, unfortunately, but that's who
mm.
I am.
That resonates quite deeply, but we don't have time to dive into that next time, or just
Or we'll just talk.
we'll just get
Yeah,
coffee.
totally.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Um,
like that coffee shop.
I I didn't write down the song because I was rushing, but you have this lyric. It sounds like you have a great memory, so you'll probably pick it up. Sick of asking when and not asking why. Sick of waiting till the moment's right.
Sick of asking which of us is or which of us is my
Oh,
fair and loving
fair
God.
enough. God, duh. Yeah. One, do you find yourself to be very religious? And two, where did that specific line come from? I would say it's one of my favorites that I heard.
Thanks. And I've, to your point about the quality of our music, it's gotten kind of somewhat more rocky in recent albums, but I think I'm going to get back to that kind of tender, more
You have a
sad.
great voice for it.
Thanks. Yeah. That was the voice that I had initially writing music. I've developed a rock voice through this band, which I feel very grateful for. But I'd
Hmm.
like to get back to like the next record, or I don't know. There's so many songs I have yet to write.
Yeah.
But I grew up in a very anti-religious house. My
Mm,
mom was raised by missionaries, who also happened to be kind of bad parents. So I think she took out a lot of her frustration with them on religion in general. And so I grew up in a world where it was just taken as a given that if you were religious, you were kind of delusional.
mm,
Kind of that was the way she talked to us as young children, my brother and I. So I don't think of myself now as being religious. I think of myself as being open minded to it. Certainly there being kind of things beyond me that I don't understand and that are meaningful, and perhaps I'll be more spiritual as I get older. Um, Hopefully, I can transcend all my internal conflict enough to feel a greater connection to the spiritual world, but I'm struggling with that now.
Hmm.
Um, the song is about her. It's about
Hmm.
dealing with having had a mother who, in some respects, I mean, I've benefited a lot from who she was. In some ways, I think I've struggled a lot with the mother that I had, who at times felt like more the master of my existence than I was,
Hmm.
more the god of my existence than I've ever been. So a lot of my work in music, a lot of my work in my own therapy has been trying to create some space from her emotionally,
Hmm.
which has involved a greater deal of freedom and a greater deal of sadness too. Um, when I cut my hair, she was so delighted. She was thrilled to see little boy Jeff with his little boy haircut. Kind of a. This was last week when she saw it, and I just had the double reaction of feeling like, "Fuck you, mom," and also I'm really glad you like my haircut, mommy.
Hmm.
Showing you my that I'm still dealing with how I feel about her, how much I want to please her, how imprisoned I have felt by that all my life. Um, that's what that song's about.
Yeah. Um, I think there is a value to being able to write about really complex, vulnerable emotions, experiences, and situations and
Mm,
package it in a way that is very digestible. So even though we started this conversation analyzing that, I don't, again, just to reiterate, I don't think it's a bad thing. I think in
hmm.
some ways it
Yeah,
is a testament of like really good songwriting.
100%. Totally
So I
agree with
applaud
that.
you for that.
Thank you. Well, I think I kind of feel like I've been writing some of my, in that particular way, making things that are complex, somewhat more digestible, or something relatable, I guess, to other people. I think I've gotten better at that. I've also gotten less afraid of that. Like I was
Hmm.
saying before, like I think I was afraid to be um, too exposed. So way better to be very confusing and cryptic, man.
Yeah.
I don't know. So I'm getting better at that. But
All right. You only have 60 seconds. Who are you going to give flowers to? That's not me.
I will give flowers to you because
Oh,
it's been nice to spend time with you
okay.
today. Um, Certainly to all the guys in my band, Connor, Rick, Jesse, Joel, Sean. They've been on this journey with a person who's deeply conflicted about the music he's been creating. So to them, I say a huge thank you for being patient with me. I'll give flowers to my wife, who tolerates me being gone from the house at nights to do all this. That's
Shout out
a huge one. That's
spouses.
Hillary. And my kids too, Kaisa and Tom, in a similar way, because I know it takes a toll on them too when I'm gone. They let me know, which I'm so thankful for. They're willing to let daddy know how they feel. And I'll give a shout out to my first therapist, Oscar, who retired a couple of years ago, but he was a huge part of my life, still is a huge part of my life. And Barb, who I will see Tuesday and Thursday next week, and I'm sure I'll tell her about my conversation with you, and I'm not sensing now that I've done or said anything that I'm going to be mortifyingly embarrassed about. Sometimes that happens in these situations, like,
Hmm.
oh God, why did I say that? Why did I get into that? No, I feel very proud for trying my best to relate to you who I really am
Hmm.
in the time that we have, tears and all. Um, I feel good about that. I can stand on
Nice.
it. Yeah.
Well, do you want me to call you Sharkeologist or Jeff?
Oh, Jeff is way better.
Well, Jeff, thanks for being here.
I appreciate you making the time, man.
Yeah,
Thank you.
of course. It's a wrap. At the Labor Temple.
At the Labor Temple.
The
Lovely stuff.
Labor Temple. That's where we are.